Welcome, friends. Today, we are doing some first impressions. Nice. And the house we are doing first impressions on is that of Naomi Goodsir. So, as you can see, I already have a bottle here. And this is a bottle of Bois d'Assessi, or Assess. Assis? Who knows? Bois de something. I also have the rest of the line here. So this is Cendre. This is Cuir Velours, Nuit de Bakelite, Corpus Equus, and Eau du Serail. And there's Bois d'Assessis. Forgive us if I'm pronouncing that wrong. You can set us straight if you know how to, because I've got no idea. Now, gotta be honest, these are not really my first impressions. I have smelled these before. As you can tell, I bought this blind, but what a purchase it was. It's fantastic. It's worked out really well. Can't wait to start wearing this during the autumn. Autumn and the winter. Smoky, birchy incense. Fantastic. But today we are going to try all of these, including Bois d'Assessis. So if you are ever interested in trying the house, you will have somewhere that you can get the opinions of someone who smelled all of them at once. You know, it's a nice, easy way of trying them. And it's not like Zoologist. Zoologist has like 20 odd fragrances. These are just 6. So I'll do all of these in one video. Oh, just going to get my little tablet friend, and off we go. So the first one we will try is this little dabber. What I did was I bought my bottle of Bois d'Assessis from a Cendre Nobile. I've got a rather large vintage haul. I got a rather good-sized niche haul, strangely enough. And when I bought this, and this was part of it, I went to buy Nuit de Bakelite, and then I remembered it was a massive tuberose, and I was a bit scared. I didn't want a bottle. You know, I wanted to sample it first, better. So I got a sample, and I bought all these samples when I bought this from a Cendre Nobile in Germany. Fantastic place to buy your niche fragrances, by the way. They ship all over the place, and if you spend over a certain amount of money, they will give you them. They will give you shipping for nothing, which is very kind. I love out like that, because shipping, as we all know, has gone insane. Unfortunately, when I ordered them, I forgot to get Iris Cendre, which wasn't very clever, because it was the one I was most interested in smelling, apart from the Nuit de Bakelite and the Bois d'Assessis, I suppose. But I was interested because I've been looking for an iris fragrance. So I actually got this sample of Cuir Velours. Thank you, Cuir Velours. And he sent me this along with a couple of chocolate bars. Nice. So we will sample this one first. Iris Cendre. I have no idea what the notes are or anything, so I'm going to look them up on the Fragrantica, because I always look up notes on Fragrantica, because if you're going to be wrong, you might as well get it wrong from the same place every time. You know, they're going to be consistent. They're not exactly fucking known for their accurate descriptions. But anyway, I imagine this has been sent in by the brand, this copy. So, immediately you get massive iris, obviously. But it's like that. It's that new iris that's been about. If you've ever smelled Tears of Iris by Gucci, or even Iris Malacan by Crivelli, this to me, is what Iris Malacan should have been. Iris Malacan's got a similar, if not identical, iris note to this, but it's got some dirty, great synthetic amber wood that just trails on forever by itself after the iris is gone, and it's very off-putting. This, on the other hand, doesn't have that. I have the benefit of having smelled these already. I'm thinking I might do this as part of the first impression, so I can like inform, like it won't be like a first impression. That doesn't make any sense. So it won't be like a first time impression, but it'll be like early impressions. I should have called it early impressions like Ramsey did. Damn it. But anyway, here we are. I've got a first impressions playlist if you want to go back through. But anyway, this has, according to Fragrantica at the top, spicy notes. Fucking spicy notes. Floral notes as well. How nice. Spicy notes and floral notes. Which spices, which florals? It's not that hard. Just tell us. For God's sake. Mandarin orange and bergamot. Bergamot looks particularly yellow on Fragrantica these days, doesn't it? I remember when they changed loads of the pictures for the symbols on Fragrantica, and I was just like, it took us weeks to get used to it. This is fantastic, and I have to be honest with you. I have bought another bottle. I made an order, which you will see soon from Essenza Nobile again, and ordered the actual sample of this, but Jura Rose's sample arrived first. And instead of waiting for their sample to arrive, I just said to them, look, give us a different sample and I'll take a bottle of Iris Cendre as well. And they were like, oh, okay, no problem. But in a German accent, obviously. The middle notes in this are iris, violet, and incense. And the base notes are tobacco, labdanum, and amber. Now, for me, this is iris, violet, a little bit of spice at the top. You get a feeling of tobacco. You know, you get that like sort of like warm, like sort of like a darkness from tobacco. It's got like, it gives this body, and it gives it a little bit of warmth and a bit of strength rather than smelling like tobacco. Same with the labdanum. Like if you close your eyes, scrunch your face dead tight, you might be able to make out labdanum. But for me, this is like that quality orris butter, concrete sort of thing, you know? Have you ever seen like, you can Google it, iris butter, iris concrete. You see it and it's like this thick, pasty sort of stuff. And that's what this is the impression this gives me. Of like this paste, it's thick, but it's a little bit waxy. It's a little bit clean. It's very clean. But it's got body as well. Got to be honest, don't get any of those top notes. No spice. Maybe some floral. You know, it's like floral notes. Just means like floral impression, doesn't it? You know what I mean? But yes, I've got to be honest. I bought a bottle of this. Next, we go for Cuir Velours. Cuir Velours. Now I am banging to a good leather. And this, I've got to be honest, I'm impressed with this house. I like the stuff they do. It's good in the main. There's one we'll come on to in a minute that I wasn't impressed with. But you might be. You never know. I'll tell you about it. And you can make up your own mind. So Iris Cendre, I forgot to say, was made by Julien Rasquinet, my favourite modern perfumer. New perfumer, young perfumer is probably the best way of putting it. I believe he is the future. I believe he will maintain Pierre Bourdon's legacy as he trained under the man. And you can tell You know, Pierre Baudin made a lot of stuff like Good Life for Davidoff and Individuel for Mont Blanc and like Dupe Homme. You know, not all of his stuff was Koros. He changed the game many a time. Cool Water by Davidoff, Green Irish Tweed, of course. So he was capable on lots of levels. And I think Julien Rasquinet could have that kind of influence if he wants. Anyhow. Next. Cuir Velours. Notes, no pyramid. Suede, immortelle, rum, tobacco, incense, and labdanum. Now for me, massive suede, big rum, tobacco, and labdanum. Immortelle, not so much. Not on a stick anyway. I've got to be honest, I've tried all of these on skin, right? And they're fucking nuclear, like. They last for fucking ages, which they should. You know, for if you're charging £150 or €150 for 50 mil, I want them to do bits. You know, I want something from. I want more than like. I know I get the principle. I do honestly get the principle of. I don't care about performance. I just want. I'm all about the smell and the fucking. I get it. I understand. Honestly, I do. I get that. And pure, but like I've got to be honest. On the other side of it, I want strength. I want to be able to fucking smell it. And these do all of these do that. They're all big fragrances, you know. So this is a soft leather, sweet, a little bit boozy, and I do mean a little bit boozy. It's more like the sweetness comes from the booze, you know, like a rum sort of like has that sweet smell, a little bit sticky. Suede, it's not like a dark leather. It's like a light leather, like a kid leather, like kid gloves or that kind of thing, you know. You could wear this. This would be a good this would be a good entry level to leather. You know, I know nobody wants to think of themselves as like a beginner or like but if you're not used to like leathers, you're gonna struggle with stuff like Tuscan leather and fucking well there is another leather in this line that you would struggle with as well. There are many leathers you would struggle with. Cuir de Russie. The darker ones, you know which ones I'm talking about, even if I don't. This is fantastic. This is very nice. I don't think I would buy a bottle simply because it's a little bit sweet for me. And there's another fragrance in this line as well that I think is a bit sweet. There is a lot of sweetness from that rum. It's very apparent at the beginning. I've got to be honest. It's very apparent that it's sweet. But anyway, next we will move on to an extremely intriguing fragrance. And that fragrance is Nuit de Bakelite, or Bakelite, if you want. Oh, dear Lord. It's not necessarily a bad cough. I'm just a little bit dry. Excuse me whilst I hydrate. So, Nuit de Bakelite by Naomi Goodsir. For some reason, Fragrantica is trying to tell me this is an amber, which it is not. That is bananas. This fragrance was made by Isabelle Doyen. Now, I don't know anything about Isabelle Doyen, apart from this fragrance, and it is rather good. I've got to be honest. Scared I was by the talk of huge tuberose. But the tuberose in this isn't the floral aspect. It's like the stem. You get the briefest of hints of like that warm, pissy, sickly sort of shittiness you get from white florals, but it is just the briefest hint, you know? Like, I'm talking very, very scant. This is a huge green fragrance. It smells like a vegetable garden in the summer just before you're about to pull it out the ground. It's so green. It's so incredibly green, but there's a little bit of powderiness there as well. I don't know where that's come from. It might be the carrot seed, because carrot seed can do that. Might be the leather, actually, which is a strange thing to say, but you can get like not a powdery leather, but like a leather with like a bit of like a dustiness. Dustiness might be a better way of putting it rather than powdery. Huge angelica perfume rather than tuberose, you know. Green notes, angelica, tuberose, artemisia, styrax, leather, carrot seeds, caro corunde. That's like a white floral, apparently. Cardamom and ylang ylang. Maybe the ylang ylangs giving it that powderiness. It's very well made. Very green. Very, even though it's strong, it's soft at the same time. Like a huge green marshmallow made from vegetable. What? I don't know. It's got a lot going on there. You know? There's it's very good. It is powdery though. It does have this carroty kind of irisy vibe to it. You know? Like a bulb. Like something that has a giant root, like a bulb plant with a giant root underground. Next, we come on to Corpus Equus. This is the other leather I was talking about, and this, excuse me whilst I hydrate, this is massive. This is the other leather I was talking about earlier when I was talking about Cuir Velours, and this couldn't be much more different from Cuir Velours if it tried. It is, excuse me, it is smoky, it is sharp, it's not sharp, it's dark, it's strong, it's woody, it's extremely leathery. It reminds me there is definitely something in this that is also in Hyrax by zoologists as well. You know? Let's have a look. So the notes are leather, smoke, birch, woody notes, rose, incense, amber, musk, cedar, and patchouli. This is supposed to be like a horse saddle leather, like a black horse saddle leather with the horse in it, you know? So you're meant to smell the horse and the saddle. And you do get that kind of worn but quality, old, strong leather, you know, like thick leather. You know how saddles are quite thick? It's got this thickness about it. I've got this, and there is an ingredient or a note in here that is in Hyrax, and this is what made me think I don't need this fragrance. Also, there's a slight, I don't want to say a plasticky sort of note, but it's got this. It could be the fact they've used smoke and birch, you know. And they'll both be synthetics. Well, the birch will be, because you can't use real birch. Just give you cancer. This does have a plasticky, slightly off-putting kind of vibe. If you like a raw leather, like I don't mean like something that smells of like raw leather, but if you like a leather to be raw and angry and strong. It's got that kind of thing going on. It's, I mean, today's like the hottest, I think it's the hottest day of the year here. And there's absolutely no way you could wear this today. This is for literally the coldest day of the year. This is for like bonfire night. This is for January. You know, that kind of thing where it's dark 18 hours a day. It's got a touch of Beaufort London about it, although I must admit I do prefer the Beaufort. I'm not a massive fan of that one. But it is not my least favourite. My least favourite is coming up next. And that is Eau du Serail. Now, I'm going to be honest. I smelled this a couple of days ago and I was shocked, surprised, and displeased, to be perfectly honest. Because the rest of the house, while I'm not a massive fan of Cuir Velours or even Corpus Equus, sorry. This one I was not happy to be smelling, I've got to be honest. This is a Bertrand Duchefort. It was released in 2014. And this is important. I'll tell you why. First, I will tell you the notes. The notes are mango, red berries, which I get the mango straight away, by the way, apple, sweet orange. Middle notes are rum, coconut, get the rum, mate, ylang ylang, artemisia, sage and geranium. The base notes are tobacco, get that, honey, get that, beeswax, vanilla, get a massive amount of that, amber, get that, oak tree, labdanum, cedar and musk. And I've got to be perfectly honest with you, this smells like Herod by Parfums de Marly. Very much like Herod by Parfums de Marly, which came out in 2012. Is it a clone? Probably not. It's better than Herod. But if you smell this and Herod next to each other, you'll know what I'm talking about. Even if you don't agree 100%, you'll know what I mean. It is a sweet honey, tobacco, vanilla. And it is, I don't want to say it's a rip-off of Tobacco Vanille, because that's what Herod is. But it's, yeah, it probably is a rip-off of Tobacco Vanille. It's gone for that sweet tobacco, vanilla, honey, warm, sweet. Sweet. I can't tell you how sweet this is. You know, it's got mango, red berries, apple, and sweet orange, rum, coconut, honey, beeswax, vanilla, and amber. It's sweet. And ylang ylang, which can be sweet. I really don't like this. I really couldn't wear it. I'm surprised this is in with the rest of them, to be honest with you, because the rest of them are head and shoulders above this. This is not good. Eau du Serail. But it could be their best seller because it's that type of DNA, do you know what I mean? It's that type of fragrance. Like, people love this shit. But not for me. Again, it's very powerful. It's very strong. So it has all those things that tick the boxes for people who like stuff like Herod and Parfums de Marly, you know? Anyway. This is Bois d'Assassis. Oops. This is my favourite, and I'm glad I bought it, and I did buy it blind. But after having smelled all of them, this is still my favourite. Maybe with the exception of Iris Cendre. like smoky incense. Reminds me a bit of Bois d'Encens by Armani in the Privé line. It's such a well composed fragrance. Again, it's Julian Rasconet. The top notes are tobacco and whiskey. Whiskey's less sweet than rum. Labdanum, amber, and cinnamon. And the base notes are incense, cedar, and oak moss. It has that earthiness. It has like an earthy, like grounded in the earth sort of vibe to it. Do you know when you get like wisps of smoke and the sort of like the hang in a room and then the sort of sink and the hang around the floor if they're not being disturbed? Like, that's what this is like. It's like an earthy smokiness with just a little bit of sweet, just the tiniest bit from the cinnamon and the whiskey, just to give it, just to offset that darkness. You can go overboard on the darkness like Beaufort often do. This has got that. Sorry, there are just like birds singing. There must be loving Bois d'Assassi. But they can't have it because it's mine. Anyway, this is probably my favourite from the line. This and Iris Cendre. We'll go back through them one more time and then I will sign off. Yes. Straight up iris. Smells a bit like Iris, which I've just got from Hermes. Cuir Velours. Cuir Velours has calmed down a bit. It's come together quite nicely. It's a soft suede. It's definitely not like the Corpus Equus. Very different. A little bit nutty as well. Very nice. Nuit de Bakelite. So vegetal. So vegetal. So good. I once was very tempted to buy Ninfeo Mio by Naomi Goodsir, and I, fortunately, before I bought it, I tested it on my skin, and on the stick and on the skin, it was 100. There was 100 miles between it. Couldn't have been more different if it tried. You know. But I've tried Nuit de Bakelite on skin. It's not like that. It's not as different as Ninfeo Mio was. This is Corpus Equus. Come hither. Anytime. That's calmed down, but it's still given. There's some kind of saffron sort of note in there that's given me huge Hyrax vibes. A little bit plasticky. Eau de Serail, it's a sweet tobacco fragrance you have not smelled. You have smelled hundreds of times before. And Bois d'Assassi. Incense. Incense, but not dry. Thank you everybody for joining me for my first impressions of Naomi Goodsir. I hope you have enjoyed this video. I will be back tomorrow with another video, hopefully. And I will see you then. Bye.